Hi, today I start a new page in my Botanical Journal. Something to illustrate few specimens that I encountered in the last week in the forest, and I chose Rudbeckia laciniata. I will draw it here, and I want a side view of the flower. A few diagrams to illustrate the arrangement of these florets. Here I have a close-up on the flower with a bumblebee. I think that will be nice to practice a bit drawing insects. And I want somewhere here to go this week back in the forest and see if I can find a fruit of Rudbeckia and do a cross section and show some seeds also. Here I want a big leaf of Magnolia macrophylla. As you probably know, Magnolia macrophylla has big leaves, big phylla frunza, leaf, and a dry one that has turns and swirls, and I want to render it in ink and watercolor. And here I want to draw a frog, a little frog, uh, and I want to study a bit the anatomy of frog and toads. And I think it will be a beautiful page, and I will show you each of the steps as I add them to the page, and you can practice with me. Rudbeckia, it's a difficult subject because of that cone and so many details. I'm not sure I will manage to do it right, but we'll try. This is the Botanical Journal 4. Even though I try to do some composition and think the pages and create some beautiful things, beautiful compositions, there's room for errors and not so good drawings. So these florets are grouped in a typical cone arrangement with two intertwining spirals. If I draw, let's draw a circle. If I look at this cone from above, I draw a circle here. I can see those kind of spirals. And the other one. From the side view on a two-dimensional plane, we have this cone, dome shape. And we can see lines that are almost parallel and almost vertical. The one on the left bend in the middle to the left, something like that. The one in the center of the cone have a slightly sinuous movement, something like that. and comes like that. And the one on the right bend in the middle, on the right. So left bends left, right bends right, and the middle ones want to be on in both sides. Also, the distance between the lines is smaller at the edge of the cone due to foreshortening and larger toward the middle of the cone. These lines are intersected by others almost horizontal and almost parallel, again if you ignore the distortion caused by foreshortening. Oh, you have something like this. It is important to realize that this distortion is only optical. In reality, the spirals that make up the cone are parallel. The specimen I chose to draw today has this visible spiral arrangement of unopened disc florets, but also some flowers in various degrees of opening. On some of them, only the dark petals can be seen. On others, below those, the petals are withered and we can see the yellow bilobed stigma. An unopened flower looks something like this. It's like they have on the tip something like that. It's like a flower, a 5-star shape flower. They have like a small circle there. And the body of this unopened flower. And an open flower, disc florets. It has this body elongated. Something like that. And from this, the bilobed stigma. And it's running like this. And you sometimes can see the pollen here and here. And you can also see the withered petals here inside this calyx, small calyx. So for the flower, I will start with a pencil, drawing with very light lines, the construction lines. I use as usual the sanguine oil. I've seen that some of you are using the dry sanguine. It's good to look for the oil because the dry one acts like a pastel and it can smudge, and the oil doesn't do that. It has that oily protection, and that prevents the smudging. And I'm using the sanguine. You can use any pencil you like, but because I'm using the Scopic sepia, which is a bit red, more like a sanguine sepia, it's these two blend together very well. First is the action line, a line that describes the posture of the flower. I draw it a bit in this curve position. I can even exaggerate that a bit. Then I want to mark with some horizontal curved lines the position and proportion between petals and the disc. This is approximate. It's not like in our project of drawing flowers, is not as I don't try to be very precise and measure and all that. I just want to do a recording of the flower. As you can see, the flowers here on the left, the petals here on the left are foreshortened, and we call them petals, but they are really florets. So these are larger in the middle and shorter on the side. Now I'm drawing the dome. So I have this another one for the open flowers, and now I'm drawing the dome. And I can also add these spirals. So I have guide when I put the flowers in. I can start here. And the other ones. So it has to be smaller there and larger here. Always remember that, and a bit more curved. And you can see here that if you look at the spiral, it actually continues with those open flowers. Now I'm taking the ink. I can fade this a bit if I think it's too dark. And I'm taking the ink and add these small flowers, the unopened one. You don't have to add details of flowers on all of them, just few of them. So let's choose this one for detail and put in that flower-like shape and the body of the flower. Of course, if you draw larger, you can do this, reduce the distance between them. And let's show some of them here. Now for the rest of them, you can use this this kind of, so here I have an open on, it's about to open one, and here you can do this kind of without showing so many details, right, and build the structure. If you are taking the time and draw the spirals as correct as you can, this part is very easy. I mean, you do have to fill this square, actually, this diamond. It's not that complicated. And you can't, so it doesn't look like little people here. You can try make this irregular, so not a circle, just a circle there, but more like irregular edges of that top. And here, because of foreshortening, their body is thinner. You see, you have that. So here you can just I have this curve. So I fill this in, and you see, here it's a bit irregular, and I'm just adding few lines there. They look like people in a row, and I don't like that. So I just add few lines to break that monotony. Now the open flowers, notice the radial distribution of the florets. I do want to draw with light pencil few lines in order to visualize the arrangement and have few guides. So I have something like that. Then you see here you have a space, then it comes, is this spiral arm, and you have, this is the foreshortening, the flowers on the edge and facing downward appear in all their length, and those in the middle are shorter. Sometimes they are reduced to simple circles. So as it goes like this, it becomes, you see, so is this arm of the spiral that continues, and you can have one here, again long. So you can see this. You don't have to draw them all, just some of them to show how they look with barely opened and with stigma. Oh, there's something like that, and you have some of here too. This is the arrangement. You can show one very clearly, the fact that you have the spiral, and then the others. And let's put the petals into with pencil. So I do have here this petal, then this one is a bit longer. This one is longer too, and thicker. And here another one. One that comes here and it turns like that. And I can add here, I see one very foreshortened. Here is the place that is bending. And here I can show another one here. I mean, there are usually 6 or 7 petals. And I want to show another one here. Feel like that, like it's turning. And don't forget the sepals. So between them, you kind of have some sepals here. And I noticed something very nice at these petals. They have hairs on the back of them. So when you add ink, you can show that. So I want to correct the shape of this petal. I'm using straight lines to modify that very there was a curve which was a bit artificial, not like the flower is actually. And here again I'm using straight lines to correct that shape. I mean, we do have in our mind a certain type of, we have images on how something should look, and we tend to draw that. And I'm correcting that using straight lines. I could even do this larger, but I'm leaving it like this. And here we have the stem. So the tips are split a bit. Now I'm fading this, and I will try to add few flowers in ink, few open disc florets here. So this cone has to be like that. Oh, I see one. Here that has that dark petals. Another one here. And showing that small calyx. One in the front of it. Let's make it shorter. One behind. And here I'm just adding few unopened to fill that space. So here I have one that it's about to be open. And put it in there. Let's show, let's put one here. You can use the ink to make them darker. And then you can add with watercolor if you like. Let's draw one with stigma. Like that. And we are coming with this like this. So we can draw this spiral here. So let's say we have one that it's barely opened, and we can draw one that it's slightly larger. You see, you have to have this movement from circle towards rectangle. Then, because this is facing down, it's kind of a circle again. It's for shortening, but in other direction. And here, let's draw the stigma. And the small calyx. So now you have the spiral that continues, and it's so very beautiful. The structure of this florets. Let's draw a stigma here, but something like this. Another one here. And you can show on some of this the fact that they have pollen. This is a bit shorter. And let's say unopen. they open from bottom to top. So you will always have this here unopened. On this level you have with petals, just petals, and on this level, the lowest level, you have with stigma or just withered. I mean, you don't have anything. It's just starting to dry and turn into fruit. Oh, I'm continuing from here. So they meet in the middle somehow. If I make a mistake, to correct it in the middle. And that's the one. Let's make a one here, one behind here. So I want to draw this too here, and you can see the stigma like this. And show a few of them here on this part, and it's almost finished. This is the most tedious part of the drawing, but it's doable, as you can see. And it's running like this, where it has that pollen. I can stop here. I prefer clarity than just recording everything. So I will add ink to these petals and put some watercolor too. Just the outline. See, here it's running a bit. The sepal, it has a serrated margin, so I'm putting those little marks there. Few veins. Yeah, I think I want to do this larger. This is not in the picture, but I'm just putting there. And the sepal. Here I have a sepal, and this petal has to continue there. And have some watercolor. I will need 2 types of yellow. I'm taking this my small Van Gogh watercolor kit, and I will need two yellows for this, a lemon yellow, a bright one. If you think this has a metallic look, use a cadmium yellow. You see it here as cadmium, but it's more greeny. Now a clean yellow, lemony yellow, and this yellow with a bit of green for shadows and for more, for those little sepals on the open flowers. So lemon green and lemon yellow and a greenish yellow, a yellow, lemon yellow, in which you can add a bit of sap green. A mid-size brush and start from the tip. I'm not covering the whole petal, and here is darker. And I can take that green and add here a few lines. And here, where I have shadows or where I want it to look like it's in shadow. And on this one, and a smaller brush for our stigma. My small brush has brown ink on it because I'm working at that blueberry still. So let's put here. This is dry paint. Where do I have here? The same yellow but drier. And take that yellow green, greenish yellow, and put on some of this. Calyx. So make it greener if you think, and if you want to darken that color even more. And this is the green, and you can add just a bit of red if you want to make it muddier and darker. You see, and you can put that darker green here at the base of the small calyx. So I'm taking yellow that is more greener and add here on this unopened flowers. You want a green yellow, but lighter and yellower than the tip, and put some here. On the left side of unopened flowers. Take some light green and put on that, and the green for sepals. And you can go with this green and add it at the base of this calyx. And you can come back with color and add, be as realistic as you like. So you can come back with thicker paint and make this even stronger, and go in detail more if you like. Also, you can mix up black, take ultramarine and red and yellow, and create a dark, I think it's brownish, so you add more red and yellow and use the blue just to darken it. And apply on those dark tips. And you can see some of that dark here, while the petals withered and the stigma appeared. Here is the finished. Added new layers of color on the petals. Here I added a dark green to build that typical form of the cone with core shadow and reflected light and highlight. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you find it easier to draw this type of flower. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye.